Hey everyone, in this video I wanted to answer if UiPath stock is a buy, sell, or a hold. Now to answer that question, what I'm going to look at is revenue, profit margin, cash flow, and valuation. So let's jump right in, starting with revenue. Over the trailing 12-month period going back to about July of 2021, you can see UiPath has demonstrated very nice upward revenue trends here, ending at 1.148 billion in trailing 12-month revenue. That's almost double the nearly 600 million it generated in 2021. So revenue growth coming in nicely for UiPath. In recent quarters, revenue growth has slowed down somewhat as the automation enabler has experienced headwinds from its end users because businesses fearing a recession looked around and said, where can we cut or pause spending? And one area was the automation services of UiPath. They said, we know we want to, maybe they said, we know we want to implement this service, but if we can delay it for another 6 months or 12 months until we have more certainty surrounding our own business, let's go ahead and do that. So that's the reason why UiPath and other business to business enterprises have experienced slowdowns in revenue growth rates in recent quarters. The next thing I wanted to look at is the company's operating profit margin. And looking at this metric, you can see since January of 2022, UiPath has done a nice job boosting its operating profitability. Because of that trend I mentioned earlier in the video, UiPath anticipated that and reduced its own costs to right size the business in preparation for the slowdown from what it was seeing from its clients. So those cost cutting efforts are showing up in the company's profit margins, improving nicely despite the slowing revenue growth. The next thing I wanted to look at is cash flow from operations, because a lot of tech companies like UiPath use significant portion of stock-based compensation, and because of that, their cash flow from operations is positive while their operating profit margin is negative. The big gap there is the stock-based compensation. So UiPath doing a nice job increasing cash flow from operations, jumping to 15.53% in the most recent trailing 12-month period. And finally, I wanted to look at valuation. UiPath is trading at a forward price to earnings of 36.82. That's near the lower end of its valuation range it has traded at going back about a year and a half. So given its prospects, its improving cash flow, its improving profit margins, and the likely reacceleration of revenue growth from enterprises, maybe not this quarter and maybe not next quarter, but starting 2 or 3 quarters from now, businesses are going to need to resume or implement projects that they have put on pause. So longer term, the revenue prospects for UiPath look solid because of how much it helps enterprises save money by automating processes. So for all those reasons, if I had to rate UiPath stock as a buy, sell, or a hold, I would put it on the buy side with close to the hold category. So on the borderline between buy and a hold. And the reason I would put it on the borderline and not clearly a buy is because of those headwinds from enterprises pausing and delaying spending. It's uncertain how far that will go and how long that will last. And if there is a recession, if there's a steeper pause and decline in spending from its end clients. So for those reasons, I'll put it closer to the borderline.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.